Hi guys, unfortunately I'm back. It is Deep Orktober, the month of nasty boys and deodorant stick vehicles. In this video, I'll be painting my own custom band of orcs, but in a color you maybe don't see often. An orc's gotta do what an orc's gotta do. You're watching Apollo Geist. So if you watched my last video, you probably didn't, so go check it out. I customized some of these orcs to make them look like shitty nu metal guys. I made some other changes, like giving some of them new heads and kitting this boss out with a trashy boombox. They're all ready to paint, but before we get to that, I want to talk about visceral childhood memories. I don't mean like, first time going to Disney, going downstairs and seeing presents at the Christmas tree. I'm talking moments of pure sensation, things where the place or time doesn't matter, where the sensory experience stays with you forever. One time when I was a toddler, I'm talking like no older than 2, I had to hop into the car with my mom to go somewhere and had this yellow toy car we must have gotten from a pharmacy or something. In that moment, while my mom was buckling me in, the sunlight in our driveway hit the transparent red plastic of the toy's taillights. That bright red hit me in a way I cannot put into words. Even as the car drove off, I stared at those taillights for the rest of the drive. I think in some way this contributed to my lifelong adoration for transparent materials and design. Another example, and one that inspired this video, I watched Rugrats a lot as a kid, like you do. For those who haven't seen the show, the main character's idol is Reptar, a Godzilla stand-in who is just as much a mascot for the show as Tommy Pickles himself. In one episode, the kids are playing with 2 Reptar toys, one of them called Purple Reptar, who despite his name I always internalized as Pink. The moment I saw this toy in the episode, it triggered a petite existential reckoning in my diaper-shitting brain. I probably wasn't even aware of what was happening in my head, but I was transfixed on this palette-swapped knockoff Goji. The idea there could even be another Reptar, let alone one in such radically different colors, shattered my toddler perception of the world. This toy shows up in like 1 or 2 episodes in the entire series, but this green-pink dichotomy I developed in my head has stuck with me my entire life. Purple/pink Reptar altered my brain chemistry. Is this pathetic? Yes, but it's there, and I don't think I need to see Dr. Lipschitz to purge this benign rhetorical lump from my brain. Anyway, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm defiling the verdant sanctity of the orc. It's Reptar. It's Reptar's fault. Fuck you, you soy-faced lizard shithead. Oh, you guys want to still see me paint them, right? Okay. After months of it being out of commish, I replaced a broken piece of my airbrush, and as I prepared to use it for this video, I broke a separate piece. I'm so awesome. Oh well. So when I base coated the skin, I actually wanted to revisit something I did in a previous video. In my treatise on hue shifting, I painted pink by undercoating with blue and highlighting with pale yellow. I loved that color combo, so I wanted to try that here. I didn't need full opacity for the blue and let the transparency do a lot of the work for me to create variations in tone. Then I glazed on some pink, trying to go in gradual layers. When the pink gets layered over the blue, it creates an indigo transition, segueing back to blue in the deepest grooves between the muscles. This contrast is pretty extreme, and it isn't going to be to everyone's liking, but I dig it. Then I highlighted with ice yellow, focusing in on the edges of flesh or upper curvature of the muscles. I do think I overdid it here a little bit, making these guys look like weird, lumpy Caucasians, which like, they kind of are in my head, but not like that. So I took some fluorescent red and glazed over everything to bring back the pink. I painted their baggy jeans in a bluish green color, then mixed in some ice yellow to paint over the knees and cuffs. I was trying to go for that really shitty yellowish fading that was really popular from the 2000s up to the recession. Then I painted in the rest of the clothes, trying to catch the nu metal theming. I painted this dude's Reebok New Balance sneakers and then freehanded on the horse from my favorite Deftones album, White Pony. I did this first by drawing it out with a pencil and then meticulously going over it with white. For this guy, I painted his sleeveless shirt like a jersey, trying to add as much implied text as the armor would allow. Then I painted the metals. I want most of these orcs to have really dingy, rusted over equipment, which I accomplished by blending in shades of browns, reds, and yellows. Then I added silver paint chipping over the edges to show the exposed metal underneath. I didn't do this with their boss, who I imagine doesn't take care of his equipment so much as just regularly replaces or upgrades it. I painted his equipment various metallic colors, added some reds, and then painted his little buddy yellow. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience with Noosh. This is a weathering medium from Monument Hobbies, marketed on their site as an alternative to oil washes. The idea is simple. Mix some paint into it, apply it on sloppy style, and the medium allows you to wipe off the excess shortly after it's dried. I've heard really good things about this stuff, and I do get really tired of working with oils sometimes, so I thought orcs were great test subjects for this. I mixed it in with some snakebite leather contrast paint, thinking the transparency would help. I covered the clothes and metallic bits with it, waited right till it was dry, and then set about to wiping everything off with a brush. I'm gonna level with you guys, I was not impressed. I found the medium a lot harder to remove than I had expected, and when it did come off, the paint and the recesses would come out with it. By the end, all it did was stain all the areas I was trying to avoid without sufficiently weathering the recesses I was aiming for. I don't know. This could very well be user error. Maybe the works best with Pro Acryl paints bit isn't just marketing. Maybe it specifically works bad with contrast paints. I don't know. I'll have to experiment some more, but I will for sure be limiting this to terrain projects until I get a better handle on it. I touched up all the areas Noosh overstained off camera, painted the bases, and hit them with a tasty top coat.
End result.
Lately, I've been finding myself drawn to painting bigger, chunkier models, like the Gundam Assemble Zaku's a month or two ago, and now these. Is this the beginning of my big guy era? Probably not, but let's pretend it is. Do you guys want to see more orc stuff? Should I face God and walk backwards into hell? Let me know in the comments. Peace.